Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 2020 My Career mode here on the channel, of course, as we go through from 2020 all the way to current day Formula 1. I hope you're all having a great day, and as well I want to say thank you for the support of this series so far as we continue into the final half of our rookie season. And you guys have been saying, hey, this is more fun than the 2025 career mode, and don't worry, you don't got to tell me, I already know that. I mean, just about anything's more fun than modern F1 games, and this has been so much fun. I know you guys have been saying you want this more, and it's not going to really be seen this week, but going into hopefully next week and the week after for sure, we're going to start producing this career mode way more, and hopefully get at least a good 3 episodes per week out, and kind of have 3 episodes as well for the F1 25 series, and then whatever else goes out with my co-op and stuff with Matt 212. So you're going to get more output of this career mode going forward. This week I was hoping to actually do it, but unfortunately I've been going through the process of getting my car back from repairs after someone tried to steal it and they broke into it and destroyed a bunch of stuff. So there's going to be just a lack of videos in general this week and content, so I apologize for that, but just to let you know, I certainly have my reasons for it as we come through here into practice, and I don't have any contract news to announce. I was hoping to, but we haven't signed any official extension yet. However, you guys know we drive for Renault, a French team, and next episode we'll be taking on the French Grand Prix following today, so we are hoping to have some Season 2 2021 plans finalized and announced for the French Grand Prix in front of the, of course, team's home crowd. So that's going to be exciting, and we're looking to rebound this weekend, specifically, of course, home race for the big Max Verstappen, who's still seeking his first championship in Formula 1. But overall, this is going to be an exciting one for me, as, you know, the reason being, as I keep crashing myself apparently, is that was not a good start to Q1, but it's going to be exciting just because I know this is a big rebound opportunity after the fumble we had in Monza, falling off a cliff on the hard tires, and we dropped out of the top 10 after running top 5 in the first run. It was embarrassing. We scraped through Q2, both myself and Ricardo, only P11 and P14. Not what we wanted to showcase in terms of speed in this Renault, as we come through to Q2 at this point now, and I love this circuit. Everything about this track, it's a lot of fun. It's not necessarily the best for racing, but for driving, this is a blast. This is the closest, as someone for me who has, of course, got a NASCAR background, this is the closest you're going to get to a NASCAR style track that is a road course, of course, with the banking, and you can kind of do some similar moves in the banked corners that you can do at like a Bristol Motor Speedway in NASCAR. So you're going to see that on, of course, representation today as we head down the front straightaway, and unfortunately for us, Ricardo does not make it into the top 10, and I don't either. The pace isn't quite there. We end up P11, and Ricardo ends up in 13th position. So we're close, at least with our teammate, but obviously we're a little bit off of what we've been recently going into Sunday, with some serious work to be done. And pay attention, Leclerc made it to Q3 on mediums.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it.
Who would you say is your biggest rival at the moment?
I mean, Claire, some great names there. I'd probably say right now, I don't know, probably Carlos. I think, yeah, he's probably my biggest rival right now.
Do you think this team are performing as well as they could do?
I should probably keep my mouth shut about Williams, so yeah, I'm not going to say anything after last week.
Thank you for your time.
It was 35 years ago that the late great Niki Lauda took his 25th and final Grand Prix win here at Zandvoort. He came from 10th on the grid to beat his McLaren teammate Alain Prost by just 0.2 of a second. Well, Zandvoort is a very different circuit today, of course, but still one with an incredible legacy. And we're going to add to that. Welcome along to the 2020 Dutch Grand Prix. Zandvoort circuit, 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with plenty of steep camber and elevation changes to keep our drivers on their toes throughout a 2.6 mile lap. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Now, can I talk to you about Pierre Gasly? Looks like they've got a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Max Verstappen, and Perez, Stroll, Albon, Sainz, and the Rainmaster, Norris, Ricciardo, Daniel Kvyat, and Magnussen, Grosjean, Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi, and George Russell. Gasly, they've taken a grid penalty, and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Right then, we're ready to go racing here from Zandvoort, the Dutch Grand Prix. It's going to be a one-stop day, starting on softs, going on to the hard compound tire. Take a bit of feel out of the car and we get ready to roll. Now, as once again, Mercedes looking very, very strong as they continue in what's not been an unbeatable season. We have seen they can lose races, of course, if they get a little bit wild. Lando Norris, of course, the Hungarian Grand Prix, the best example of that. Valtteri Bottas looking to rebound after his mechanical failure in Monza, loses the championship lead to Lewis Hamilton. There's been some rumors as well from the press from last week that actually if Bottas was to win the championship this season, he could have a bit of a Nico Rosberg 2016 walk-off type of moment where he could retire, but obviously that right now is in the back of his mind because on the forefront is he needs to rebound today and step up to Lewis Hamilton, who looks to take control of this race early on as we are going to go 5 red lights here from the Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort. Beautiful circuit. We're racing here from the Dutch Grand Prix. A bit of a slow start from myself. Big spin on the tires. Ricciardo, I think, tried to catch me off guard. Couldn't quite make it happen, and it's Lewis Hamilton leading on the mediums. Bottas had to get through on softs into Q3, so now the strategy he made work a few races back is going into the favor now of Lewis Hamilton, and Leclerc is going to hang on the mediums as well. That's crucial because this is a difficult track to pass at. If there's a car in front of you that's on really similar pace, good luck passing them. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be a several lap kind of in the making type of overtake. So Valtteri Bottas has already got his work cut out for him early on in this Grand Prix. As for myself, settling in right off the bat here, and overall just a decent start outside of slipping the tires off the grid. We got through turns 1, 2, and 3 without much issue. And we settle in here in P11, just where we qualified, right behind Daniel Kvyat. Sergio Perez, how about Sergio Perez? A podium in the last episode in Monza for that Italian Grand Prix. And of course, Ferrari announced in that last episode at home that they will, of course, be bringing back both Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc, who's already had a multi-year extension, but they did confirm Vettel will return to Ferrari, not only for 2021, but an option to stick on to the team for 2022 as well when we get the brand new cars in Formula One, which as well rumored that we're going to be seeing a showcase of these brand new 2022 F1 cars here sometime soon. Of course, it was already confirmed with the engines that they're going to be getting, and we're going to be able to hear those on blast as well. So I'm looking forward to that, and there's a chance that the FIA or F1 specifically might actually be using me to help showcase the cars. So as we have kind of been making a bit of a name for ourselves here as a rookie in Formula One for kind of being a little bit maybe rough around the edges, a little bit aggressive. Of course, we've had our run-ins with Leclerc. Fortunately, we've been able to avoid some run-ins over the last, round or so, at least with Leclerc, as we continue now behind Daniel Kvyat and actually feeling really comfortable with the pace in this car. We got Lando Norris behind me on the harder compound tire, and he has been dropping back. He's 4 seconds back. He's gone nowhere right now, and there's just a serious lack of pace. Look at the slide from Kvyat right there. So we've had no pressure in the first 6 laps from behind, and we've put all the pressure here coming to lap 7 on Kvyat. Now staying with him through the banked curve, there's going to be a really good opportunity to use this DRS, use the slipstream down the front straightaway. He defends to the inside of the circuit. We'll pull out to the outside. I did put my fuel up to rich just to get a little bit extra power out of this car. We go around the outside, and now welcome to the points. Gary Owen back into the top 10 here as we look to rebound after that horrific final stint of racing in the Italian Grand Prix, where I thought we were genuinely on par for a top 5 to top 6 and a career best result. Of course, our career best is P7 2 times so far in our rookie season. Anything better than P7, I think, is a really strong showing for our capabilities behind the wheel of this Renault. As of course, though, you do keep in mind Ricardo proved early on in the season, Vietnam, he was able to go run P4 in the Renault. So I do believe, though, that this team has kind of fallen a little bit behind over the course of this season, but right now we haven't really still had any discussions with AlphaTauri that we thought we were going to have, and that's really the only team that seems to be really interested, because a lot of teams right now during this pandemic season is, by the way, we've run down Perez and these guys, which is quite impressive, but a lot of these teams right now, because of the economic situation due to the pandemic that we've currently got going on, are really trying to not change up really any lineups. They're trying to kind of keep the same security going into 2021, and then we'll kind of go from there. So right now I'm not expecting a whole lot of lineup changes going into 2021. We've already got the Vettel confirmation. We know Bottas probably is going to stick around as we head into the pits here at lap 12, and very happy with this first run. But now it really is game on, because we're going to come in, we're going to get these hards on, we're doing the exact same strategy that we did in Monza. Now it's crucial for me to prove that Monza was a fluke. We are going to rebound today, and we're going to be able to run a strong stint on this hard compound tire for over 20 laps now, as we're going to come out just behind Carlos Sainz. Perez right there in front of me, of course he pitted with me. As we head into the banked curve, we're going to go around the outside. Can we make this happen? Can't carry the momentum there. I wasn't really kind of preparing for it, but when you can kind of prepare that corner to do that, I think you can be a lot more successful. So I think we're still going to have some opportunities to go get Perez, as that might be where we need to be making these overtakes here, outside of course, with the DRS down into turn number 1. And speaking of into turn 1, still locked up in behind Perez, a lockup up there in front. That was Raikkonen right on the nose of Carlos Sainz. As we continue now, as the pit cycle is running its course, our teammate of Ricardo's pitted. We've come out in front of him, and here we go for the move, Bristol Motor Speedway style. Put it right up to the outside and roll the top. Momentum will pass Perez there, and we move up a position now as we try to run down Carlos Sainz. This would be for P11. There's still cars in front of us that do have to come into the pits now. In terms of the race for the lead, Hamilton and Leclerc are still out on the racetrack on their medium tires. They are going long, but they are both in control of first and second. Sainz trying to go up the inside of Kimi Raikkonen, and we will catch him off guard. We'll go around the outside, couldn't quite keep the throttle down, and the Spaniard stays ahead in the McLaren. And now we'll go for the move again. That Bristol Motor Speedway line ripped the top on the banking and carried the momentum off, and we get through up into P11 on Carlos Sainz. Now another driver likely to re-sign with this current team for the 2021 season, as we head down towards the front straightaway now, coming up towards the halfway point of this Grand Prix. Kimi Raikkonen, you're next on the list. This time we should be able to get him into turn 1. He goes defensive now and leaves me just enough room, but yellows come out. We cannot overtake in, of course, a yellow flag zone. And who is it going to be? It looks like I see smoke, and it's Stroll. It's Lance Stroll with a mechanical issue right there, mechanical failure, and virtual safety car again. We have yet to see a full safety car this season, but we have had so many virtual safety cars. It would end by the conclusion of the same lap, and we would get back going and get ready to go after Raikkonen again. However, he's going to come into the pits, so he's going to make it easy for me. Grosjean as well into the pits, and now we are in our true position. We are 8th spot, and how about this? We're in striking distance of the Red Bull of Alex Albon, and this is going complete opposite of Monza, where we are looking stronger on our second run and on the hard tires versus, of course, Monza, where we fell off a cliff. Well, no, we're looking stronger than we did on the first run, and we are closing in on Alex Albon in the Red Bull. Sebastian Vettel up there in P6, and Lewis Hamilton is still out front after the pit stops that he and Leclerc completed. They still remain P1 and P2. Look at the track map, though. As you can see, Bottas is actually just right behind Leclerc. So Valtteri trying to rebound to P2, but I think that's probably going to be the best he can really do here today, as Hamilton seems to have the win pretty well locked up, as it looks like to me. He's honestly just on cruise control at this point. Now for me, this battle with Alex Albon didn't really go anywhere. We come to lap 20, and we're in the final about 17 laps of this Grand Prix, and he had started to actually open up the gap a little bit, and I was really paying attention to what was happening, because there'd be some moments where I would gain a couple tenths at a time on him, and it was simply because he was lacking grip in some corners. There would be a few corners where he would have a bit of a tank slap, or the rear end would kick out, and I would gain a good 1.5 to 2 tenths of a second, but then he would run a clean lap, and he would pull the 1.5 to 2 tenths of a second further out or pull it back out and then some. You'd open it up to 3/10, maybe even 4/10 on some laps. So now the gap is over 1.5 seconds. It's closing in on 2 seconds, and I'm realizing, okay, yeah, I don't really have what I need, of course, as expected, to go and fight with a Red Bull. Alex Albon has a win under his belt this season, but his results haven't quite been on par here over the last few rounds. Yellow flags as we come to the end of lap 22, and it's Norris. It's Lando Norris who's having a great run. Mechanical failure there, engine gone on Lando as we head into turn 1. Again, no virtual safety car either. I was thinking we would get a virtual one, but no, we stay completely green, and that's 2 positions we have gained on drivers that were quicker than us today. Stroll, of course, and now Lando Norris. This advances us into P7. We were talking about a career best finish earlier, was P7 twice. We are now on par to do it 3 times. But don't look away from that Red Bull, because we are reeling him back in. This is not over yet, as we are already coming up towards the final 10 laps. It's been a pretty, simple, straightforward Grand Prix, not a lot of chaos, but we are closing in on Alex Albon. We're even running a pace that's pretty competitive to Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari as we come towards now lap 25, approaching lap 26, and we're just out of DRS range on Albon. And if we can just get into that DRS, if we can get within 1 second, I think it's going to be truly game on, as I was pushing really, really hard right now, as Max Verstappen appears to be doing the same thing. Sets the fastest lap of the Dutch Grand Prix at home. Here he is, looking strong and unfortunately not in position to, of course, score a podium. But how about Leclerc and Ferrari finally making some gains there, as he looks poised to, of course, be on the podium here today as he continues to run P2. Bottas, with 10 to go, has still not found a way around the Ferrari. But we have talked about, of course, how Ferrari has not been on par with what they've been over the last few years, of course, where they always kind of have a first 3/4 of the season championship fight caliber car, and then it kind of fades off. But this season they haven't had it to begin with, but they're looking a little bit better this weekend than they have in the majority of this season. I say that, and of course Vettel isn't running necessarily the best, but he is currently in P5 as we go through the grid late in this race. Lewis Hamilton in complete control as I continue to try and run down Alex Albon and get an overtake done. And Leclerc's P2. He could very well be under pressure from Valtteri Bottas for that second position here in the next few laps. As you can see, Bottas not far behind him as they go through the banking here as we continue to go through this order. And there's Verstappen, you see, in 4th, just over Sebastian Vettel. Vettel not far behind Verstappen. He could maybe reel him in. And then, of course, you got myself tailing this guy, Alex Albon, here as I go way up the banking there, trying that momentum kind of based exit there as Carlos Sainz is in front of Sergio Perez. Daniel Kvyat having a great run. Ricciardo still struggling to get himself into the points, unfortunately, here today. He has not quite had the speed today. He's had a few rough races as of late, as you see Pierre Gasly as well going at it with Kevin Magnussen in the Haas. And speaking of Haas, a few spots back behind Magnussen is his teammate of Roman Grosjean. Raikkonen being outran by his teammate of Giovinazzi, and then you've got George Russell, who's significantly outrunning again Nicholas Latifi, whose rookie struggles continue for the 2019 Formula 2 champion. As we are now closing in on lap 30 of this Grand Prix, we're within the final 10 laps of this Grand Prix, and we are just about there to Albon. We're now within the DRS range. It's about to be game on. All we got to do is get within a few more car lengths, because I'm not going to pass him from this far back with DRS into turn 1 unless we start really abusing our battery, and I consider doing that right here just to get me at least close. We're clearly not going to be close enough to make a move, so we need to be just a little bit more patient. We come to lap 31 through these fast sweeping right-handers, and look at the gap. It's seriously come down as they run a little bit wide over the curbing, but we're fine, as now I think we've got a real chance within the next lap or so to get Albon through the final banked curve. Coming to lap 32, 5 to go, a big run, and we are going to make it happen. We have brought the fight to Red Bull today. We pass Alex Albon into turn 1. What a move right there, and puts us into P6, a career high, as we look to finish this race off strong. Lewis Hamilton still in control. Valtteri Bottas is still battling with Charles Leclerc for the second position, as he actually finally would get him on lap 33, so he would get through into P2. Leclerc drops to P3, so of course Valtteri is still going to be losing points to Hamilton, assuming he hangs on, as we put Nicholas Latifi a lap down. He is so far off the pace here this weekend. It has not been very pretty, of course, for him, as we now see Hamilton setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, shattering the home crowd, of course, support for Max Verstappen here today as we get closer and closer to the end of this race. Now 2 laps to go. We have driven away over a second to Alex Albon now. As you can see, Vettel has unfortunately opened up the gap to me. Of course, we were never going to run him down to begin with, but to the final lap. What a race it's been, and in my opinion, a big statement race right here. We are a talent, and we are going to be a future race winner. We're going to be a future podium scorer. We're going to be a future champion here in Formula One. None of those things are likely to happen this season as a rookie, of course, in this current car that we have, unless we get some wild races, which we've seen can happen. But what a rebound after Monza, as Lewis Hamilton will go back-to-back. He'll pick up another win, 4th win of the season for the 6-time champion. Valtteri Bottas will have to settle for 2nd, and another loss of points after that big blow in Monza, of course, with the engine failure. As we round the final turn down the front straightaway, Albon actually got back in to the DRS, but we hang on. P6, what a race here for us in the Dutch Grand Prix. Zandvoort delivers our best career effort to date as a Formula One rookie with this Renault Racing team, and we score Driver of the Day. Very proud of that one, as Mercedes get to celebrate once again. As, man, this is really going to be interesting to see if Bottas can bounce back, because this we keep talking about this whole pandemic season. It's so much shorter than what we're going to see in any seasons beyond this one, and you really cannot afford to be giving up points. You can't afford mechanical failures, and Hamilton is making Bottas pay the price for, of course, something that was out of his control, as he celebrates at the top step of the podium alongside his teammate Valtteri Bottas and Charles Leclerc. Mercedes, they still have lineups to determine. Do they keep Bottas on? Do they bring in George Russell? Do they make an attempt to get Russell into Racing Point? Do they just end up keeping him at Williams for another season like they did in real life? There's still a lot to be determined, but I'm hearing we could be getting a retirement announcement as soon as next episode, so stay tuned on that, as we'll take a look at the results and as well the points. Of course, Ricciardo, unfortunately, no points for him, and Hamilton extends that championship gap. He's now got over a full race lead on Valtteri Bottas. And in the constructors, of course, has been a complete runaway for Mercedes, as we're now only 3 points behind Daniel Ricciardo. We have made some serious headway on him over the last handful of races, and we could maybe outscore him on points as a rookie. That would be a big deal to me, as in the constructors, yeah, I mean, look at the gap. And of course, Renault, we've got some work to do. AlphaTauri is now in front of us. We're down to P7 going into a home Grand Prix. High expectations and hopefully a contract signed, and as well a brand deal potentially signed with Pepsi. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.